347-326-9741. 347-326-9741. I'm Brian the Butcher Brown, of course, as you should know, and of course, you know the other player, because we only have one, because Judas does not show up ever. BillBrown1. What's up, brother?
Hello, hello, hello.
What's going on? What's going on?
Yeah, just, waiting to drop some knowledge bombs once again, like I do on a weekly basis.
Damn fucking right. That's why we are the number one source of your MMA news and knowledge out on the interwebs, especially at Roto Experts. That Cauliflower for the Year show, I got nothing on us. Fuck those sons of bitches. That's what I say. That crew is what I like to call the B team. Okay?
Wow.
The A team. Wow. And there's a guy on that show who's stolen my name as well, the Butcher. So I don't really like the fact that they would fucking sink that low as to try to ride our coattails and use my nickname. It's fucking bullshit.
That's pretty awesome. You're trying to start an on-air feud with another show that I actually think you co-host.
What?
I don't know.
No.
I don't know if it's an imitator so much as actually you. So, but since we're the A team, does that make Steve our BA Baracus? And,
well, if he would show up, yes, but he never shows up, so we can't rely on him like everybody could rely on BA, so I don't know if we can really give him that title.
Sorry, Bosco.
Ow. I just laughed and hurt my back. That doesn't make any sense.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. How old are you?
Oh, God. Apparently fairly old when you can just giggle and all of a sudden go, ooh, that stings.
Yeah, that's the beginning of the end right there. When a sneeze or a laugh can just completely throw your entire body out of whack, that's when you just hang it up. That's it.
Yeah.
It's over, Johnny.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to have to do, but, not yet, because, of course, we've just got too much of a bright future with this show, being as it's handled so properly by Roto Experts, I mean, I could definitely see it going places here.
Sky is the limit.
I don't see it stagnating at all, and eventually us getting bored, sitting here just talking to ourselves, seeing what works, what doesn't. But then again, who the hell would know if it works, No, I don't think any of them have ever listened to us. Either show, for that matter, to be quite honest.
What's feedback? I don't know. I've never gotten a single note. I know that.
Oh,
yeah.
Jeez. Mm-hmm. Well, in fairness, they did give me an email address, but never addressed an email to me. Plus, I stopped checking it anyway, so I believe it's dead now.
Oh, okay. So you don't even log into that. We
No.
could have somebody listening to the show weekly, and I mean, granted, you are going by past experience and saying that in all this time since you started doing that other show, over a year now, you never got one email. You never got one email, so I'm probably with you on this. There probably hasn't been any sort of email in the last, month and a half or however long it's been since I started babbling along with you on Wednesday.
It's been I believe since the end of February. That's going to be my guess. So you're at 2 months now, okay?
My goodness.
And I'm just a little over a year and a month now. And obviously it's going good, riding high on the hog. I'm bragging about my paycheck before. And, that's why I really shouldn't complain. What's that?
I said all those sponsors.
Yeah, all the sponsors. Let me just tell you something. There's a lot of zeros on my check. That's what I do know. Okay?
That's right. If they're not preceded by any numbers, though, that's still zero.
Oh, fuck.
Yes.
I'm glad I didn't try to cash any of them, because that would have been embarrassing. That would have been really embarrassing.
I am embarrassed. I tried to cash a check. But I just thought that perhaps, they didn't have enough room after all, before all these zeros. I was hoping you would tell me how much I have.
Yeah, that's what I was going to do, because I literally have a check with 6 zeros on it. I thought that was good.
Oh, my goodness. Well, it would be great, even if there was like a 1 in front of that.
No, there's not. There's not.
Oh, yeah. I think that's null and void. You might as well paper your wall with that.
Jesus. Well, I guess that's what I'll have to do.
Yeah.
All right. I guess I'll stop complaining about that. You know, why not? Why keep beating a dead horse about being a sad sack? I mean, we've got MMA shit to talk about. You know what I'm saying?
My.
That's what we're supposed to do. Or wrestling. You know, that's really the one or two ways that this goes. So, you know, I don't want to get into the wrestling yet because I'm just going to say I was a little disappointed that since we ended the show early on Monday, I was able to watch the rest of, you know, Raw, and I wasn't really satisfied with the way it turned out, okay?
No? There wasn't any ridiculous chicanery going on?
No.
No?
There was just a contract signing. That's it.
Really?
Okay? Yeah. I thought maybe
Usually,
somebody's going to get put through a table, or maybe, you know, somebody's going to get the shit kicked out of him. No.
At the very least, they could have pulled out Vinnie Mac and faked his death for the 15th time. You know, that might have been fun.
Well, Brock did make some demands that he wasn't going to sign the fucking contract for the pay-per-view unless his demands were met. He wanted more money. He wanted Vince's private jet to every event. What else did he want? Any rules? He said the rules only apply to those clowns in the back kissing everybody's ass. They don't apply to me. Anytime anything comes up about me, I'm going to have the lead say in it, okay? So don't try to put your rules on me, he said.
Whoa.
And I forget what else he said, but, you know, he basically... Oh, that's right. And also, I guess starting next week, it's going to say Monday Night Raw starring Brock Lesnar, because he said since he came back and he's going to be the face of the company now, that's what was stated in his contract, he wants it stated so everybody knows. And all these demands were met. All these demands were met, so I assume it's going to say Monday Night Raw starring Brock Lesnar next week.
That's pretty amazing. I'm sure, because we all know how good Brock is at an untaped, undirected promo. I'm sure all of this was absolutely captivating television as well, because
it actually wasn't that bad for Brock. You know, he actually he's obviously doing real fighting for a living for a few years, taught him how to cut better promos. Because I think what he did is he just said, fuck it, I'm just going to channel myself. And that's it.
I'm just going to be me, you know.
Yeah, it's going to be me. Because he's throwing a gimmick out with a lot of shooting it.
I want more money. I'm going to hold this company hostage for more money.
For more money.
What would have been awesome? What would have been awesome is if that wasn't a work at all. Is if he was just like, fuck it, I'm on live TV. I want, you know, I want more money. I want Vince's jet. That would be awesome, actually. You know, I want Vince's jet to pick me up on my farm. And basically, you know.
He said at his front door to the venue's door.
That's great. I want my wife to be in the Hall of Fame.
Yep. You know, I don't think it's too ridiculous. I think he's asking for things that he deserves and he should get.
Right. You know, because he's been on the road 365 days a year like all the rest of those guys that have been there for the last, 10 years since he told us all to fuck off.
They're just a bunch of sucking-up clowns, Billy, okay?
Yeah.
There's a bunch of sucking-up clowns.
A bunch of sucking-up clowns, you know.
And then he verbally bitch-slapped Cena.
Well, come on now, you know. Since Cena is all about rise above the hate, that's all anybody ever does is verbally bitch slap him, you know?
Well, he didn't come out when he was supposed to originally, so of course Brock talked about that he was a scared fucking little boy. And then when he finally came out, he had this look on his face like he was, you know, a little upset and sort of scared. And then Brock taunted him into signing the contract.
Oh, wow.
And that's all it was, okay? So Brock verbally bitch slapped him, talked him down, and stared him down. And then walked out. So I was very disappointed that no one got put through a table.
No fireworks, huh? That's a crying shame.
Cena didn't even utter a word. He just looked like a hurt child. He looked like a hurt child out there, and then eventually signed the paper.
You know what? I mean, I think if I was, sitting there live, which, as for the one live wrestling event that we actually attended, we decided that we would probably never do that again.
Never.
But if I was sitting ringside, and I was one of the people who just loved to hate John Cena, I still, from what you're describing, especially because, I'd have been like, oh, my God, I hope Brock just completely bitches him and puts him through a table and then just goes, ah, and then signs it in Cena's blood while he's lying on the ground. I think I would have been just utterly disappointed if I was just sitting there. I'd have been sitting there still going, boo to Cena, but I'd have been like, yay, with a question mark, for Brock, that kind of thing.
Well, it was obviously to get boos for them both because, of course, everybody was booing Brock because of his shitty attitude and his demands, thinking he's owed something. And Cena did get, when his music finally did hit, when he decided to come out late, he got more pop than he usually gets and then just stood there like a fucking puss. And so, of course, he got booed in the end anyway.
See, I don't know. Just terrible. I think... I said it the last time we talked about Brock that I think they sort of, jumped the gun and blew their nut with bringing him back. I know they wanted to pop things like right after WrestleMania, and that's fine. I'm not saying, that they shouldn't have brought him back right after WrestleMania, but I mean, there's a pay-per-view happening this weekend.
He's headlining,
and again, yeah, exactly, that he's headlining, and based on. That's not, like, the best lead-in that I could think of going into a pay-per-view weekend, to be perfectly honest. All right? I mean, after dropping, $60, $70 on WrestleMania 3 weeks ago, all right, this is what you give me to get me hyped up. I mean, sure, he F5'd Cena the day after WrestleMania. They had a brawl, and he got F5'd a week later. Then they aired a video package, which was kind of badass. It
was pretty badass.
Last week, all right? Now they have a contract signing where the two dudes don't do anything. And that's your lead-in to, WrestleMania, especially because, I mean, I was looking at the rest of the event, and 4 of the matches on the card are rematches from WrestleMania. So right now, right now it's like, okay, I just saw those people, fake fight 3 weeks ago.
The worst.
All right? So right now, the only thing that this pay-per-view is hanging on is the Brock-Cena match.
Well, it's no rules.
And, fine. There's no rules, whatever. Like maybe it'll be like 1995, where all of a sudden the fight spills out into the parking lot and then out into the street, and they'll just, be smashing each other with food carts and shit like that.
Ah, sweet. That was the best. That was the best of times.
And then somehow, because it's not as if all that stuff out in the street would have been pre-taped. Somehow they'll make their way back into the arena, where we'll pick them up again, and they'll brawl their way back down to the center of the ring, where it will finish out anyway.
And usually come down the ramp too. Somehow they got back to the ramp, which I always found pretty amusing. They got back to the backstage area.
Yeah, they they're not fighting through the crowd, through the ticket booth. They somehow made their way backstage to fight there.
Can't anyone have
Do you have a ticket? Do you have a ticket? And then that guy just gets bashed in the face. But so right now the only reason to buy this thing this Sunday is to see Brock versus Cena. And that's what you do to give us the lead in. I mean, obviously they're going to have SmackDown on Friday, so whatever their headlining, whatever their headlining contribution to the card is, there's going to be, some build up to that on Friday. But I mean, I don't know. That's kind of like a bullshit, lead in to the very next pay-per-view that you're blowing all this money on.
Sauce. I agree. It's certainly fucking weak sauce. And I was a little disappointed because I was like, why do they bother watching wrestling? This is why, even though we like to talk about wrestling, like you've pointed out, we're not very educated in it because we really don't watch that much anymore. But I was like, fuck it, I'm going to jump in. I'm going to jump in and watch Brock F5 John Cena through the contract signing table just because. And it just didn't happen, so I was quite disappointed. What's that?
Because that's always fun. Come out to sign some papers. Not like you wouldn't do that, and say like, the chairman's office or with your manager present and maybe some lawyers. You're going to be it's just 2 men, and some
Billy,
random.
Billy, I want to clue you in on something. The contract signing is actually kayfabe. Okay, it's really Yeah, it's really just a filler and kind of really supposed to be like a wrestling match. That's why you expect action in it. You see. I don't know if you knew this. It's called, maybe, I don't know if you've ever heard this term, but it's usually referred to as a work in the business. All right, yeah.
You
so
must
they're
be
really
one of
not,
those.
those aren't real contracts they're signing, Billy. They're not.
It probably just says, he's signing it, I can't believe he's signing it. That's ridiculous, you know.
Or it says,
and
use this clipboard to smash your opponent over the head.
Yes. You have notes. It's just reminders on how you're supposed to assault the person across from you. You know?
Yeah, exactly. Do this. And none of that took place. So that's why tonight I'm not going to talk about wrestling. I don't care. I'm not going to do it, okay? I don't care that there's no rules pay-per-view on Sunday for the WWE and Brock Lesnar's headlining it, okay? I'm not going to do it. Although the Funkasaurus I'm a pretty big fan of, okay? That guy rules.
What is that dude's name? Brodus Clay or some shit
Brodus
like that?
Clay, the Funkasaurus. And now he's teamed up with fucking, what's his name? The midget.
He's teamed up with Hornswoggle?
Hornswoggle, yeah, Hornswoggle comes out and dances, and he's got these two fine black broads that are fucking doing, like, the bump and shit like that, and fucking Hornswoggle's out there, and he's just ass-high sniffing their heinies.
So,
awesome.
So Brodus Clay is just the Godfather 2.0. He comes down, he dances with hoes, and that's it.
That. It's original.
It's one of those gimmicks that basically I have to sit there and wonder if this guy, Brodus Clay, was just handed this gimmick and was just like, here, we'll just give him this, and it's not ever going to go anywhere, but, we'll pretend to push him. And yeah, it's one of those things that at least according to what I read, because Lord knows I don't watch the wrestling like I used to, supposedly it's over as all hell.
Oh, yeah, so, they love this dude. I mean, he came in, of course, they were in a tag team match, him and Hornswoggle. Hornswoggle started the match out, got in a little bit of trouble, because, of course, the other two dudes were full-size, normal people.
And more than a hobbit.
Yeah, exactly, but he was able to fucking get the tag in, and all of a sudden, Brodus Clay, a.k.a. the Funkasaurus, came in like a house on fire, okay, and fucking clean shop, and they ended up winning the match. It was fucking... I was very pumped. And then everybody got in the ring and they started dancing.
Wow, with that ringing endorsement, I might have to start watching on Mondays. Of course,
what's her name?
Then I might not be able to listen to a certain internet radio show if I did that. But
yeah, well, I don't blame you. It stinks anyway. Like I said, fuck those guys in their faces. And, we're just going to fucking, from here on out, we're going to throat job those mofos.
Whoa.
So I hope they got a lot of fucking throat lozenges. But no, yeah, fucking Vicky Guerrero apparently was, aligned with the other tag team and came out. And then she tried to, fucking do something. I don't even remember. I can't even fucking remember everything clearly. But she, of course, screamed a lot. I remember that.
She's still trading off her husband's corpse?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. She actually just fucking, says, Eddie got me all this money, ha, ha, ha. It just says on her shirt all the time. Fucking dead.
Oh.
I didn't say that. She said that. It's on her shirt. But,
that's the shirt she wears. All right.
That's the shirt she wears. Yeah, fuck Eddie Guerrero. He's
that's
dead.
That's an appropriate gimmick, actually. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with that whatsoever.
No, not at all. So God bless her. God bless her. But I guess we'll move over to the MMA. You brought up Hall of Fames before. I remember you brought up Rita Maro. Well, that's her name, right? Or I guess it would be Lesnar now. Miro. But I guess it's Lesnar, actually.
A.K.A. Sable.
Sable, yeah. The delectable Sable. But just recently, I think this came up last week, we brought up Tito Ortiz and, all the shit he was saying about how, maybe he's considering a future in the WWE. Oh, Jesus.
Wow.
And even though I dislike the guy, I never was really a fan. I remember bringing up to you that no matter what, the dude's credentials, he definitely deserves to be in the Hall of Fame.
Absolutely.
And I think you agreed, and I know Steve definitely agreed because Steve would fucking lick Tito's balls if he was standing in front of him. So
Steve, I love him, but he swings off Tito's nuts like nobody's business. So. I know we're just haters, but, yeah. Of course Steve would have been like, oh, my God, yeah, he should have been, like, in the Hall of Fame 15 years ago, before he started fighting.
Right, exactly. He definitely should have been elected. But Dana White just recently came out because I guess he was asked. I didn't really. He said Dana White came out and he said, despite my personal problems with Tito, he belongs in. He was the champion when we first bought this thing. The fact that Tito is still here, Tito and I have had our moments, but it doesn't change what he did for the company. And it's true, And he said, he definitely deserves it. He did a lot for it. He also said, and I also agree with this, and I'm not a big B.J. Penn fan. He also said B.J. Penn deserves to be in the Hall of Fame as well. And I can't agree more. I mean, both these guys, they fought at a time when nobody really gave that much of a fuck about the sport. They certainly became household names. I mean, back then, we weren't even getting the pay-per-views anymore. I stopped getting them. Well, I really didn't get them. I guess I convinced Dad to get a few of them early in the 90s and stuff. So, I mean, we weren't even watching, but we all knew who Tito Ortiz was. And I'm sure we heard a mention of B.J. Penn. So, I mean, to be able to transcend that when you aren't even actually 100% in the sport, watching the sport anymore, says a lot about what the guy has done and everything. So, regardless whether Forrest comes out and destroys Tito or if they fight to a draw or lay on top of each other for 3 rounds and then we have another split decision win, I definitely agree with that. I think Tito should be in the Hall of Fame. So, I'm glad Dana said that, because obviously with all the problems, who the hell knows? Maybe Tito says something wrong and they say, kind of like the Vince McMahon route, and say, fuck you, you're out.
Well, that's one of the things that I find pretty funny about Hall of Fames like that, okay? Because, at least with other sports organizations, there's usually some sort of balloting system and, people on the board are voting for it. So it's not just like one person in control saying, no, this person gets in, this person doesn't. But no, absolutely. Tito should definitely get in, as long as he, like you said, just keeps that friggin' big mouth on that even bigger head shut.
Tremendous.
Oh God, ridiculous. No, the guy is absolutely. He was he was a star that sort of transcended the sport because I when he was on his initial tear, I was only a semi-casual fan of MMA. I had put it in the same realm as, in my head anyway, as boxing. I had no interest in boxing at the time whatsoever. I was just like, okay, it's just dudes in a ring, throwing hands. Big deal. Who cares? That wasn't something that I wanted to throw my money at. Even though at the time I was throwing money at, pay-per-views for men pretending to hit each other. And,
nothing wrong with that.
No, but at least I knew that was fake, and I knew it was scripted, and I was still entertained by it. Whereas at the time, I wasn't really all that interested in MMA. But I knew who Tito Ortiz was. I had heard of the Huntington Beach Bad Boy.
Sure.
So he was somebody.
I think everybody has.
Right. Him, Chuck Liddell. I knew these names, okay, without even really watching or following the sport. So absolutely, he's somebody that helped put the company on the map. There's no question that he should be an instant entrant into the Hall of Fame. And again, hopefully he doesn't talk himself out of it, and so that Dana doesn't pull a Vinnie Mac where, we're going to put Mick Foley into the WWE Hall of Fame. Wait a minute, he's working for TNA? Fuck that guy. He's no longer in the Hall of Fame,
Exactly, dude. But the most important thing that comes of this, if it does happen for Tito, just think of the fact of all the new punishment shirts that can come out. He's got a new line of T-shirts to sell. Hall of Famer Tito Ortiz, former 205-pound champion Tito Ortiz.
I'm not the next anyone. I'm the first Tito Ortiz. Hall of Famer.
Oh, jeez. But, all joking aside, of course the dude deserves to be in there. And you know what? God bless him. that punishment line has been around forever. You know, he's definitely, you know, I just don't really like his style, and I always hated the excuses after the losses. You know, that's the thing that always irked me about Tito. You know, if he could have just been like what he did the last couple times out, like we finally got a Tito who lost when Rashad beat him his last fight out, who, if he could have just been like that, I may have liked him, you know, because like you said, we weren't really involved, you know, in watching the sport for a little while. You know, when we started watching again, I was still hanging on to names like Don Fry and fucking Mark Coleman and stuff like that. So I sort of missed Tito's era. Maybe I would have liked him if I watched it when it was happening, but since we got on when he was sort of, you know, nearing the twilight of his career, and after every loss, yeah. After every loss, it was, oh, you know, my fucking ass itched, and I reached back, and fucking, you know, next thing I knew, the guy had me on the ground, or, you know, Lyoto Machida, I had him in that triangle, I almost finished him, and you know what, I feel like I really should have won that fight anyway, but, you know, the guy ran away from me the whole fight. Meanwhile, Lyoto Machida beat the balls off of him for fucking 3 rounds. He got one triangle sunk in, and Lyoto defended it properly, and then started punching him when he got out of it, you know, so... You know, that's what turned me off to Tito.
I mean, you know what? The thing that always turned me off to Tito was that the excuses. And again, like you said, we didn't see his dominant period. Yeah, well, ducking Chuck, yeah, but we didn't see his dominant period, like you said. Okay, and because of that, I never saw. I mean, yeah, I was aware that he was somebody who had. Who held on to the belt for, at the time, I think it was the longest title run in the company. It might still be. Right. I don't know, but I'm not going to bother.
Anderson Silva, and I think Anderson Silva and George St. Pierre surpassed them, but it took that long to surpass him.
Yeah. So exactly, and I mean, so they surpassed him in the last year or so. Maybe 2 years ago. I don't even know.
Because Tito had the belt, I think, for 2 years, and I think Silva's had it now for 4. So. Okay. He's doubled it, and then St. Pierre got beat by Serra, if you remember, he had the belt taken away. But since he's gotten it back, he's got to be over 2 years now, with the injury layoff, probably at 3 or maybe even a little over 3 now.
Right. So, I mean, but for a while there he was touted as the one of the longest reigning champions of all time. He was dominant. I knew that. But then, when I started watching, I saw a guy who, I think, I don't know, the last person I saw him, other than Bader, the last person I saw him beat was Ken Shamrock.
3 times.
Well, yeah, this is true. But, and he's just somebody that never shuts his mouth, which, that's something that bothers me too. I mean, every now and then you find a shit talker that wins you over. At first, I didn't like Nick Diaz. Okay, now I love Nick Diaz.
Love that.
Okay,
yeah.
I'm starting to turn the corner on Frank Mir because Frank Mir is a big dickhead too.
He really is.
And you know what? The fact that man loves himself as much as he does is starting to win me over. Like the amount of love Frank has for himself is starting to actually work its way into me apparently because now I'm starting to like the guy. So maybe, but I mean, also you talk about guys who, perform. You're talking about guys who, on a regular basis, make other fighters look silly. You're talking about guys who, just beat the balls off of people for 3 to 5 rounds, or people who take limbs home on a regular basis. So they talk shit and they back it up. But I saw Tito talking a bunch of shit and not really backing nothing up, not really looking impressive. So, and then, like you said, during his, after his losses, I had a broken skull. I had, my back was bothering me.
I have a fractured skull coming into this fight, and I still stepped in here like a warrior, guys.
For you, I did this. And then he wonders why the boos start raining down on him. Yeah. Because he made a fucking excuse, 4 seconds after losing a decision. So I mean, maybe now, I'm guessing maybe the excuses are because to want to do that, I guess you're this big alpha male, and you don't want to admit that maybe the sport has passed you by a little bit. Maybe you
absolutely
lost a
not.
step.
Yeah.
You've lost a step.
I mean, you brought up fucking Ken Shamrock. He's still out there, Billy. He can't believe that it's passed him by.
Yeah, well, he just needs to find somebody who's willing to toss up tomato cans in front of him constantly, and even then, he's still in danger of not winning the damn fight.
I don't want to discredit Ken's name at all, but I don't think he's beneath taking a dive for pay. You know what I'm saying? Now that's between you and me. Don't say anything.
I will tell no one. I'll tell no one.
Don't.
Your secret is safe with me.
It's been rumored even when he was more in his prime that he may have done that before, let alone now. It's like, hey, I'm Ken Shamrock. Beat me up, but I get a giant paycheck.
See, you should be smarter about it. You should just
be like fucking Bob Sapp.
Bob the Tap Sapp.
I'm going to post a video in the chat room when I find it, because he just fought this past weekend. And as the guy who wrote the article put it, Bob Sapp almost puts up a fight this past weekend.
Really? I didn't realize that his next fight had already happened. If I had known that. Oh,
he's got two in May, and he's got two in May. So don't worry, we're going to see more of it. But I'm sorry I cut you off. But I did look up longest title reigns. I short sold Tito, which isn't fair to him. Okay. He actually was a little over 3 years. He held the title from April 14th, 2000 to September 26th, 2003, a total of 1,260 days with 5 title defenses. Now, I don't appreciate how they list Matt Hughes in front of him because they combined his 2 title reigns. So I think Tito's technically 3, like I did state. Okay, that is a little bullshit.
Yeah.
And George St. Pierre is second with, I don't know how he's second then. Oh, I guess they're looking at title defenses because his has only had 1,137 days.
Okay.
12/29/2007 to present. So because he was injured a few times in between, and this one was a long injury, so they're counting the fact that he hasn't fought. Okay. So really, Tito's still second then, if you really count the number of days, though.
Yeah.
Because George in that span has only had 5 title defenses. So I don't know if you can really put George second. And of course, Anderson Silva has had 8 title defenses for 1,578 days.
And in Tito's defense, I'm also pretty sure that in his title defenses, he probably didn't outpoint the guy for every single one.
No, he pretty much finished them all. Yeah, you are right. So.
With George St.
Listen, the dude does know how to finish people, Billy, but he's a smarter, and I'm using air quotes for everybody who can't see what I'm doing right now. He's a smarter fighter now, air quotes.
Okay, when's the last time we saw that dude finish somebody? Was it back in 2007 when he just started his most recent title reign?
When he took the belt back from Matt Serra after Matt Serra shocked the world. If you remember, he beat the living balls off of Matt Serra to take his revenge and kneed that motherfucker so many times in the kidneys. I don't know how Matt Serra's alive today. And now we know why Matt Serra only fights once every 2 years, because he's like, fuck this shit. I'm going to train people, and they're going to go in there and fight.
There you go.
Yeah. But that little fucking midget was the welterweight champion of the world for once. He had 1 title defense and lost it, okay? So congrats to him. He's not on this list for longest title reigns, by the way.
1 title defense, that's like most of the light heavyweight division. So,
Yeah, with the exception of Machida, because he did defend his belt, even though everybody wants to say that Hua beat him the first time. He didn't. But Johnny Jones, of course, is the only guy who's defended it. But, I mean, Johnny Jones has, 4 title defenses? But that's all in less than a year, so it's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. This guy's going to have to... What was that?
He never takes any damage.
No,
like
that's just it.
You want to fight again in 2 months? Sure.
He's going to fight again in 2 months and fucking destroy the monolith, Dan Henderson, which is going to be sad because Hendo had a nice little storyline going for himself, and now he's going to fucking face this monster. But guess what? I have another possible opponent for the future for Johnny Bones Jones. I don't know if you saw this article today, Billy, but a former champion, also known as quite the badass in his day, and was a pretty dominant guy and was also one of the guys who helped put the UFC on the map. I'm talking about none other than the Iceman, Chuck Liddell. Okay, he was being interviewed, and of course, they brought up about his retirement and everything, and how he admitted, well, he really didn't want to go, but it just kind of made sense. He admits that maybe he can't, he definitely can't take a punch like he used to, but he definitely thinks that maybe he could have extended his career if he would have went back to his roots, like started wrestling more and everything. But he said, I didn't want to do that. That's not my fighting style. So of course, it put me at a disadvantage since I kind of lost a bit of my chin. But I'm not really looking to come out of retirement. But if I was, there's only one way I would do it, and that's if I was going to get an immediate title shot against John Jones, and then he would come out of retirement for that fight. So now that I'm throwing it out there, obviously I think Johnny Bones is probably shitting his drawers because with that overhand right that Chuck has, I'm sure John Jones is probably going to lose his title to the Iceman. The Iceman's going to start his second title reign, and then maybe he can cheat like Matt Hughes and add both his title reigns to to show how many times how long he held the belt.
Right. Let me just piss all in your cornflakes right now.
Yes.
Even though I did pick up on a little bit of sarcasm when you were just.
Apparently, Steve has been on hold this whole time because I've been on websites. So I'm just going to click him out, but keep talking, Billy. We'll get to him in a second.
Okay. Steve's been on hold. That sucks.
Yeah, for 6 minutes. I didn't even know because I was on other websites. Jesus. And not porn people. Okay. Other websites.
So yeah, I'm just going to have to say that I did see this article, and
nice.
I almost gave myself whiplash with the way that I was shaking my head the entire time that I was reading it. Again, this is a guy who helped make the sport what it is today. He was one of those recognizable names, one of those recognizable people at a time when I wasn't even into the sport. Okay, so I knew who Chuck Liddell was. I knew who the Iceman was. Okay, he was kind of hard to miss. He had the mohawk. He was a bad dude. All right. There is absolutely no way. I mean, this is another guy who the sport has completely passed him by. He's got a button the size of my fucking ass on his chin, okay? And that's sizable, people, all right? I have got junk in the trunk. So dude seriously basically has a Bugs Bunny type sign, hanging off of his head that says, "Hit me here." All right. You're talking about his trademark overhand punch, okay, which, if I remember as far back as to Saturday night, somebody was trying to hit an overhand punch on Mr. Johnny Jones all night, and you know what? That dude is quicker than Mr. Chuck Liddell, and he was not hitting it at all. He maybe hit it flush, once or twice?
Once.
And
it hurt. Okay. So just like if Chuck threw it, it's going to come harder.
Oh, yeah, exactly. But it's also going to be, John Jones is going to be able to brew tea and take a couple sips before the punch gets there.
That's true.
So, yes, Chuck says that he doesn't want to be a sideshow fighter. He doesn't want to sully his legacy. Yeah, he doesn't want to sully his legacy by, coming out of retirement and fighting these ridiculous fights. I'm sorry, Chuck, but this is already a ridiculous fight.
Yeah.
Okay, you don't have the speed, you don't have the tools, you don't, like you said, you don't want to go to wrestling because it's not your game, and that was really the only way Rashad was going to win this fight. And Rashad is a great wrestler. He didn't, he completely gave up on the wrestling, like within the first round. He attempted, I think, 2 takedowns the entire 25 minutes of the fight, and it was half-ass takedowns.
Pretty tall order.
I'm sorry, it's not happening. And Dana is not going to allow it to happen anyway, because Dana wanted Chuck to hang it up about 4 fights before he hung it up. So,
he's got a couple of years now to heal that chin. Come on.
Oh, yeah, sure. But
let's see if
Chuck is the only person. Chuck is the only person, the only thing that Dana loves more than money. okay, or maybe as much as money. I don't know if it's more than money, but he loves it around the same amount. All right, and he's not going to allow Chuck to go in there to get completely beasted by John Jones.
He loves Chuck more than money because Chuck went to Japan with him and was knocking out fucking Yakuza dudes in fucking back alleys for him, okay? Chuck was his fucking muscle out there. But let me see if Steve's listening. Since I kept him on hold for so long, he might have fell asleep. Steve!
Yo!
There he is. What happened? You probably called in when we were talking about your boy Tito. I was on a different
that's
website.
That's why I called in. I was going to defend him, but it's kind of off topic now.
Well, listen, Chuck beat the balls off of the motherfucker, and, would do it again in an instant, so maybe they could make that fight. So what do you think about Tito possibly getting to the Hall of Fame?
Well, I think it's a no-brainer. I don't even know why this is like a topic to be discussed.
Yeah,
like as if he didn't deserve it.
We all agree with you, though. We all agree with you. I can't dispute that fact. I'm not going to attack,
You were talking about before about, how he, had the excuses after the fight and stuff like that, saying he was always hurt. But, you know what? He probably was. Yeah, he probably wasn't lying, as opposed to other fighters, a.k.a. Bob the Tap Sapp, who have these horrendous injuries and then make miraculous recoveries. I'm pretty sure Tito's back is really fucked up. I'm pretty sure he probably had a busted skull that fight against the second Forrest fight.
Torn labia.
But he still came out and fought. Did he complain about it afterwards? Sure, but he still came out and fought. So you guys are always fucking ragging on Tito, and, you're forcing me to defend him, where, I'm not even as big a Tito fan as I used to be, but you guys start talking about him, and the blood starts pumping, and get all riled up, and I become super Tito fan again.
Yeah. Well, listen, he's going to have his just due, as long as he doesn't fucking shit all over DW. Dana White has already come out and said he deserves to be in there, so I'm sure in another 10 years when Dana decides to make him really eligible, because, he can just put anybody he wants in there, so he's going to make him sweat a little bit. He's going to make him sweat, keep him on his best behavior, because, Tito's going to have to still earn it, I think. And then when he comes up on that ballot, he's still going to have to pass through, and you know what? He better mind his P's and Q's, because they'll just tear it up right in front of his face. They'll do it. You know they will. You know they will. You know what? I think Dana should put stipulation on the fucking upcoming fight with Forrest. If you lose, you're not in.
To your comment, you're the trending topic now, since the Tito topic's a little old because you're looking at porn. But,
hey, I was
with the Rashad,
too.
With the Chuck thing, and you talk about his overhand right, which might be the only thing he'd have against Jones. I believe it was an overhand right by the guy who lost to Jones that put Chuck out. So I don't even know what Chuck's overhand right would do against Jones, because if Rashad could put him out with overhand right, and then Rashad's overhand right couldn't connect, then Chuck has no shots.
Listen, I'm going to whisper this because I don't want everybody to hear it.
Thinking in this interview.
I'm going to whisper this to you guys because I don't want a lot of people to hear it. But I can put Chuck out with an overhand right, okay? That's between us guys, though. All right? It doesn't change the fact that Chuck can still hit like a fucking truck. And that's why obviously I would never fucking swing at Chuck. But, of course John Jones could put him out. And, but Chuck's still got more power than Rashad. It's a proven fact.
Well, sure.
It's true, but he's also way slower, so... Like I said, if Rashad's overhand right...
Not as slow as Dan Henderson.
Henderson's got the chin, though. That's the difference.
It's true. Okay, I'll give you that. Henderson's never been KO'd, so, if Jones knocks him out. But at the same time, you're really going to see it's going to look like an iceberg. I know I've said this a million times before, but an iceberg out there, and John Jones is just going to be fucking all over the place, and the iceberg is going to move an inch, okay? Chuck can move faster than an iceberg, I guarantee it. Even though he's the Iceman, he still can move faster than one. Now ask me if I think he has a chance against John Jones. Now ask me if he has a chance against John Jones.
Does he have a chance against John Jones, Brian?
Fuck, absolutely not. He's going to get killed, murdered, and he's going to be a freak show.
But he doesn't want to be a freak show.
Yeah, well, I've got news for him. He might not want to be a freak show, and he could say that all he wants, but, I don't know. It's probably not going to happen. That's what's going to happen if he steps in there, and everybody's going to go, you're a freak show, okay, Chuck? Sorry.
But you did bring up who the next opponent is for Mr. Jones.
Sure.
One Mr. Dan Henderson.
Freak show.
Which I'm going to have to agree with you there, too. I mean, I love Dan Henderson more for his crushing blow to Michael Bisping than anything else, to be perfectly honest. I think prior to that, I was just like, Dan Henderson, whatever. But when he knocked
over in Japan, that fucker.
Yeah, when he knocked that Limey bastard out and then followed it up with that vicious forearm while he was on the ground, completely helpless, that's when I went, yep, that's a guy I can get behind. You know?
Yeah, it proved that he definitely has Indian blood in him because it was savage, you know?
But like you said, yeah, I mean, I think Hendo is just going to get picked apart. To be honest with you, I think Henderson's options, were pretty slim. He wanted a title fight. And so basically it was either Johnny Jones or Anderson Silva. And to be honest with you, I don't think he had a shot. I think he had more of a shot with Anderson actually. But I still don't think
aging quickly.
Yeah, exactly. Anderson's on the higher end of the scale age-wise, so you don't know if he's slowing down or not. But I think he's just going to get picked apart by John Jones. So, I just don't know why he's so quick to take that one.
That's I don't know. What do you think, Steve? You think he's got a shot against John Jones?
Not really, to be honest. But I don't know. I don't know anybody else who has a shot against Jones right now. So.
Well,
maybe if he can cock that right hand back and throw it and, pray to God and get lucky, but nobody else has been able to do that. So at this point, I don't know. I don't know.
Well, Brian the Butcher Brown smashed him in UFC Undisputed 3. Smashed him. Smashed John Jones. Okay? There's no contest.
Wow.
So I could probably do it, is what I'm considering. But as for Dan Henderson, I think his best chance was when he threw his hat in the ring to move up to heavyweight and fight Dos Santos. I think he would have had a shot against Dos Santos because Dos Santos is extremely aggressive in his style, which would have opened him to possibly getting hit by that overhand right. Now, of course, once Dos Santos gets out of the first round with Dan Henderson, it's all downhill for Dan Henderson there. But if he could have caught Dos Santos in the first round, I think he had a shot. If he could have been the guy thrown in there, of course, that didn't happen. Mir went in, yada, yada, yada. We know how that whole card fleshed out. I think Hendo, if that would have happened, I think that's where he could have cashed in and maybe won a belt. I don't think he's got a shot in hell to beat John Jones. We all agree on that. And Anderson Silva, even though he's aging, if he gets through Chael Sonnen, which smart money would say he does, but Chael's definitely got a shot. I don't think Dan Henderson can beat him either. I mean, that'd be a little shocking to see that get pulled off.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the problem with those weight classes is that, if Chael can't beat Silva, who can at this point still, even though, like you said, he's aging? And John Jones has not only, beaten everybody that they put in front of him, he's chopped them down pretty good, so...
Yeah.
I mean, he's dominated. Even the ones that have gone the distance, he was in clear control of. So, I don't know. I don't see that belt changing hands anytime soon. So,
do you want me to tell you who's got a chance? Do you guys need me to fill you in here?
Why don't you
breaking news?
Knowledge?
Well, all right. I'm going to tell you, okay, because this also came out this week. There's one guy out there. Now, I know we were talking about Dan Henderson, and I kind of derailed the conversation, but I wanted to throw this out, and then you can pick it back up where you were at, Steve. But you were asking a question, so I want to answer it. King Mo Lowell says he has what it takes to beat John Jones. Okay, Steve, back to you. You can finish what you're saying, and what do you think about that? King Mo says he can do it.
That was like, I just could laugh hysterically. That's about it. I mean... This guy is always desperate for anything, because nobody gives a shit about him, so he's always got to come out with these outrageous comments just to get his name out there. And then the best he gets when his name is out there is a quick dismissal. So, I mean, I really don't know what he's going to do. I don't, all he can do is lay and pray, and I doubt he'd be fast enough to get Jones down to to do that. So I have no idea what this guy is talking about. So I mean, he, you know, the only sympathy he gets was for his staff infection. That was probably the only thing he can beat at this point.
He's got bills to
I don't
pay
know.
because of that. He's got bills to pay because of that, Steve. He needs to beat John Jones to pay those bills
of course.
You know?
He's a money weight. That's what he does.
Exactly. Billy, what do you think? You think King Mo can do this? He thinks he can.
I think King Mo's got at least 9 months to think about how he would possibly go about.
Right. And he's also been fired from Zuffa, so it's going to be a little tough.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, he has to, A, get rehired, and B, he's got 9 months to figure out the game plan. But again, I think everybody knows what they need to do against John Jones. It's just actually doing it once you're in the ring. I do not think so.
No.
To be honest with you, other than the money weight comment, I can't remember anything about any of King Mo's fights. To be
What about? He almost killed Lawrence Larkins his last time out. He literally almost killed the dude. And then he got caught for Roy.
He also burned down a goddamn bathroom after when he took a piss test too.
Yeah.
So,
well,
you know,
is that his fault or Lawrence Larkins' fault?
This is what I remember about King Mo. Okay, I remember King Mo saying he was a money weight. I remember him pouring Rockstar energy drink all over the canvas of the cage that he was fighting in. I remember him basically needing an entire hazmat team to come in and collect his urine sample after his last fight. I remember him calling someone on the athletic commission a racist bitch for trying to find out if he understood the forms he filled out. And I also remember his most recent win was against a staph infection. That's what I remember. That's what stands out about King Mo.
Technically, he beat Lawrence Larkins. He just, you know, he technically cheated when he did it. What about his medallion, Billy, and his crown?
Vaguely, you know. Again, you know, I'll go on record as saying Strike Force. I don't really know much about it. You know, so.
But I'm going to tell you this: most of King Mo's winning fighting purses are wrapped up in his medallion and his crown. So he really needs this money. Okay, he really needs this. And you know, I believe Dana was quoted before King Mo made this headline that he would be open to letting King Mo back in. You know, he would just have to. He's got to wait and see if King Mo's ready to kind of.
He's grown up and matured, and he's a big boy now.
Exactly. He needs King Mo to put his big boy pants on, play the game, not call out the fucking commission when he's definitely wrong, stuff like that, you know. So
King Mo already put his big boy pants on. He went to that woman. He actually went and visited her and apologized in person. Okay, so yes. So,
you don't even like King Mo. You know more about him than me. I am shocked.
Okay, so
I kind of like
the woman that he called a racist bitch, Pat, whatever the hell her name is, he
Pat
actually
Cunt,
went
her
to
name
her. Really? Is that?
So.
Oh no!
Everybody right over there?
We're still there?
Yeah,
over here.
Oh, all right, nice. Okay.
What happened?
No. So is that you know? I don't know what country that comes from. That's a new last name on me right there. So.
Cunt. I think it's universal, Billy. I think you might find cunts on other planets as well. You know, if there's alien life. If there's alien life, there it is. That is.
So yeah, as a matter of fact, I know so much about King Mo that one of the last times that I went on a rant about him, I attributed, Brett Rogers' day job to him. Okay, that's how much I knew about King Mo. I was just like, oh, poor guy can't even go back to changing tires because he's got a staph infection. And you're like, oh, that was Brett the Grim, Billy, and I felt like a complete douche.
Who's in jail, I think, right now.
Guess he's not changing tires either. So
no,
making license plates instead.
I think he is, but he's probably happy because you know what? Apparently, his wife's maiden name was Cunt as well. So you know,
related. Nice.
just going to fire that out all night. I think it's a fresh word we've never used before.
I've never heard it.
Yes.
So.
But listen, I think we're gonna hit the break.
Okay.
And I'm gonna fill you guys in because I do know what King Mo is gonna be doing in his downtime, waiting to get reinstated by the Athletic Commission, hoping that Zuffa softens their stance to let him back and maybe even challenge Johnny Bones for his title, which won't happen. They'll just put it back in Strikeforce. Until they dissolve Strikeforce, obviously, you know. But you know, I do know what he's doing. Oh, Jesus Christ!
Jesus Christ.
That one came from my toes. That one came from my toes. So it was it really fucking rifled its way out. But I'm gonna hit the break. We'll be right back. All right. Sure. 347-326-9741. 347-326-9741.
Really? I like boners.
What's up, boyo? What's up, Hollow?
Hollow.
Fuck it.
Fuck it.
That's right. I should just fucking put that on a loop for the rest of the show. That's fucking cool. Jesus.
Jack Burton and the Pork Chop Express.
Right. We'll put it down low so we can talk as well. Now, I promised you guys a little bit of King Mo news. Okay?
You did. It was very professional. Very, very nice way to tease the second hour.
That's right. I tickled the balls, and then I said, no dice. You're going to have to come back to more if you want to blow that load. So, you know, listen, I'm trying to make analogies here. Very sexy analogies, okay? Well, obviously, King Mo's going to have a lot of time on his hands, okay? So he found a way to fill this time in. Now, a couple weeks back, if you guys remembered, I was on a little bit of a ladies' MMA kick, all right? And then, of course, as soon as I shot my load over the Ronda Rousey-Misha Tate fight, notice how I didn't speak much about women's MMA, except for the one fight that was on that Super Fight League 2 thing, and then I tweeted the girl, and she tweeted me back, and then I haven't heard back from her, so I don't like her anymore, okay?
We broke up.
Yeah, we broke up on Twitter, okay? So she can go have a nice life and go lose her next fight, as far as I'm concerned, okay?
Ouch.
All right? You hear that, Colleen Schneider? That's right, I'm calling you out here.
Wow.
But, yeah, I said her name. All right. I'm, of course, just joking. Maybe. But anyway, Invicta FC Fighting Championships, Invicta Fighting Championships. They are debuting this Saturday. Of course, everybody who wants to check it out. It's going to be streaming live on their website, invictafc.com, I believe. I could be wrong about the website because I really didn't look it up. I'm assuming they got a .com. If not, they probably got like a .net because they couldn't afford it. So just look for it. You'll find it. But anyway, I think it's going to be a pretty good card overall. I think it's going to be very entertaining. I think it's highly competitive women. But that's not why I'm even talking about it. We might get into that a little bit. Mauro Ranallo is going to be doing commentary, which I know Billy loves.
Nice.
I know Billy loves.
Fan.
And, of course, because I'm a terrible note taker, and I forgot to write down the woman's name who's going to be doing commentary because I'm a dickhead. It's probably, shit, I can't remember her name, so I'm not going to try to throw it out there. But one King Mo Lowell is going to be sitting in, helping with the commentary for Invicta FC #1 on Saturday. So I know I'm pumped.
Oh, my God.
I know I'm pumped. We heard.
Watch this now.
Damn right. I was going to watch it anyway. Now I really want to watch it because we all seen how the Phil Baroni experiment's going in Super Fight League, and I'm loving that shit.
I said the opposite. I'm trying to watch it now.
It's by Phil Baroni. Look at the body on her. What a horrible body. Then the other guy's just like, well, yeah, I'm sure she can fight really good too, Phil. Yeah, of course. Look at her.
God. I'm serious, man. I watched, I still haven't watched the whole Super Fight League card. Number one, I have to just keep playing that theme over and over in my head, so I rarely get past the entrances.
I don't know what theme you're talking about. What theme
Oh, you never heard it? You've never heard it?
No.
Oh, well,
never.
First of all, it starts out with this awesome 80s guitar riff, where I feel like I'm getting ready to watch a Rocky montage.
Right.
Like he's working out somewhere in the woods, going back to his roots, and then it comes in with these downbeats, where you just want to kick somebody's ass,
Mm-hmm.
and then all of a sudden it starts with poetry. Boom! Wow! Oh shit! Wow! I mean, that right there is an awesome wordplay right there. When you talk about people fighting each other.
You know what the most amazing thing about this is right now, Billy? Because we're on a little bit of a delay, you're actually in front of the music, too, so it sounds like you're going ahead.
It's actually, it sounds like I'm saying it and then it's happening.
Then it's happening, yeah. I believe that's how it's going to work out when I listen back because we are on a little bit of delay. So I shouldn't have interrupted you, but I was just so happy with the way it was turning out that I had to point it out.
Well, now my flow is gone.
I'm sorry. So I just wanted to point that out, though. It was fucking working out brilliantly, and I fucked it up because I just couldn't believe that I actually went right for once.
Go ahead and disagree with Billy, though.
Brian, I don't know how long I could have kept it up because as soon as the music hit, I was having a hard time concentrating.
You're laughing inside.
Yes, exactly. But anyway, just listening to that friggin' greaseball, just mumble mouth through that first match was just awful. He just seemed like maybe he gets better as the card goes on or something, but he just sounded completely lost during that first fight. And then at the end, he was trying to pretend he did a good job. He then hits what I guess is going to become one of his catchphrases, where he loves fighters with nuts and guts. And the guy sitting next to him was just like, "Oh, you're going to trademark that one, huh, Phil?" Just kind of tooling on him for it. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And then he goes.
Yeah.
He pops up his wool in the back. Whoa.
I'll tell you what, I think I'll enjoy listening to King Mo talk about fighting more so than, the New York badass, so.
Absolutely. Listen, here I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna sound a little racist on purpose here. He's very well spoken. Okay? And I'm not talking about Baroni, I'm talking about King Mo.
I would 100%.
I think this is the wrong forum for him because during a chick fight, all he's talking about is bitches and hoes. That's all that's coming out of his mouth. He's gonna be sitting here with Powell and he's gonna have a fucking 40 of St. Eyes and he's talking about bitches and hoes during a fight. I'd rather listen to the American badass, New York badass, Baroni.
Sounds to me like Steve has been hanging out with Nick Frank. That's what it sounds like.
That's impossible because, as we know, according to Nick Frank, Steve is a person of color. So.
Yes, exactly. That's the irony here. That's what I don't understand. I'm very shocked by those comments. But you know what, Steve? You're probably right. He won't be able to control himself. Because he's going to have that crown on, he's going to have the medallion on, and he's going to have to play the part, That's what he's there for.
Nobody's going to see him.
Sometimes you see fucking Joe and Goldie.
Yeah, occasionally between fights. The whole time he's going to be talking, though. Nobody's going to be able to see his crown and his chains and his goblet.
Well, he's got a lot of time on his hands. He probably does have a goblet now. But, I like the fact that he's keeping busy. He's trying to stay relevant. Apparently, him and Morrow now are boys because apparently Morrow got him the gig. And it's going to be Julie Kedzie is the other announcer, who was like a pioneer in women's MMA, and that's why I was like, oh shit, I guess I shouldn't have forgotten her name, but I never saw her fight, so who gives a fuck?
But like I said before, of course he's trying to stay relevant because nobody gives a shit about him.
I do.
Oh, no. He's got to put his mug out there. That's why he's got the crown and chain. I'm sure he wears a chain anyway because he's retarded, but. you know, he's got to have the crown and everything out there. So, you know, because he's a clown. So nobody gives a shit about it. He's not exciting. He's not an exciting fighter to watch. So, you know, people would forget his name if he didn't come out with, you know, like funny weights. That's the only thing I really remember about him, because his fights are more boring than St. Pierre's fights. So.
Oh, come on, dude. That's not true. He's got dynamite in his hands. You're way going overboard here. The only fight he was boring in was when King Mo fought Gegard Mousasi, and somehow he won the belt in the worst fight I've ever seen. And fucking Mousasi's fucking 33-3 overall, and somehow supposed to be this amazing fighter. And every time he fights in the States here, he looks like garbage. So I don't understand how that works. Okay, and then King Mo somehow had more gas than him and laid on top of him more in that fight. That's the only bad fight King Mo's had. And then he almost killed Lawrence Larkins, okay, who, yes, we know he pissed hot afterwards, but he literally almost killed that dude. It was very exciting.
Well, I managed to miss that fight, I guess.
What's that?
So I managed to miss that fight, because by that time I could give two shits about him.
Wow, man.
Maybe I'll go back and check it out. Probably not, because I've already dismissed him from my mind. But, you know, like I said, he's got to get his mug out there. So he comes out with these outrageous comments, and because nobody cares, and, you know, if he didn't come out with this constantly and annoy people, then nobody would even remember his name.
Let me tell you something about that Lawrence Larkins beating. He hit Lawrence Larkins so hard and hurt that dude so bad, King Mo started crying after the fight was over because he thought he killed the dude. Okay, and then was arguing with the ref that she stopped it too late because the guy was fucking hurt. That's how bad that's how excited King Mo is, that the guy thinks he kills people. He thought he killed him. It was amazing.
I think he's got an overinflated opinion of himself.
He absolutely does. I agree with you.
Because I haven't seen anything yet that have convinced me that he could kill somebody. So, did he knock him out? Apparently. Again, I didn't
fucking took his head off. The dude
I'll give
was
you that.
dying.
He knocked him the shit out, but, you know, for him to think that, I don't know. I have no...
Billy can vouch for this. When he poured the rock star all over him, he fucked up Mike White. He knocked him out cold with one shot. Mike Whitehead is about fucking 80 pounds heavier than him, who is now in jail, by the way, because he raped a couple girls. But, you know, I'm sure Mike Whitehead will be fine. He's a big dude.
He did, in fact, knock out Mike Whitehead, who came in looking like he was basically mainlining cheeseburgers before the fight.
That sounds delicious.
Yeah, I don't blame him. He's on the big country diet.
But yes, he did knock him the fuck out. And to be honest with you, that's the last. Again, it might be because I don't have Showtime, and you know, I'm not the type of person to try and find a feed to steal fights.
Right.
You know, and I'm not going to pay for a Strikeforce card on pay-per-view, because that's actually something that Dana said. Dana said that, you know, you can buy them, you know, you can buy the fights separately, genius, to somebody who's complaining about it.
Really?
Yeah.
What are you going to buy?
You're going to buy, there's apparently pay-per-view channels for any sporting event shown on a cable channel.
Really?
So say if you don't have HBO and you want to see, you know, a boxing match that's on HBO, you can pay, you know, $10 or, you know, or $20 to see the fight card. You know, so.
Well,
who would
I'm
pay
not
for
going
a
to do that.
Strikeforce card, though?
No,
that's what I'm saying.
Nobody.
Who the hell? I'm not going to pay for a goddamn Strikeforce card. The hell with that. You know. So.
I won't even put the energy into like you said, Billy. I won't even put the energy into trying to steal it, let alone pay for it. That's how little I care about a Strikeforce card.
I don't care if Ronda Rousey fights the rest of her career in that fucking sweet outfit that she fought Miesha Tate in. I ain't fucking.
Right, it'll be on YouTube 2 days later, and then I'll watch it then.
Right, exactly.
I can wait.
Yeah. Exactly.
And you know what? They'll take it down, but somebody else will put it back up.
Oh, the internet.
Gotta love it. Gotta love it. So I'm stoked. I can't wait to be streaming the live feed from InvictaFC.com, I believe, and hearing King Mo and what he's got to say about these ladies.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a pretty stacked card for the women's, you know.
Wow.
Pretty stacked card.
If it was anything
it
else,
actually is.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's
I don't
actually...
care what he says.
What about Mauro Ranallo, Steve? You all right with what Mauro Ranallo
I'm okay with that Ranallo. I don't know bother me. Like you said, I find it comical because he plays the part. I'm sure he knows that he sounds retarded, but he's playing that character. He's playing that. He's doing the TV voice. You know.
I'm Mauro Ranallo.
Yeah, exactly. He's just going to oversell it
and think he's spitting out gold, and everybody's just going to be making fun of him behind his back.
These ladies are just as tough as all the men you watch.
We've got the heavyweights up next. I hope someone reinforced the cage.
Yeah, exactly, Mauro. Mauro rules in a bad way. I can't wait, though. I think this is going to be a great card. I know you guys probably won't be watching it, but I will, okay? Probably the next day, though.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'll probably forget right after we get off the air tonight that it's even happening this weekend. And, I'll remember 5 minutes before we go live next week, and I'll try to fit in one fight, and be like,
well, I'm on their site now. And the Flow player just has that circle going round and round and round, and the live stream countdown is there's a clock on the side. So, yeah.
I'm pretty sure I'll be working, so I think I'm going to miss it, unfortunately. Well, I actually would watch it, but it's not going to happen.
Well, I think it's going to be great. Obviously Marlus Kunin is headlining the event. Oh, I'm probably going to get thrown off soon, so I better set myself up over here. You guys, I'm sorry, I'm going to call it on the other number that I got because I think I'm going to get booted here.
Really?
Yeah, I usually do. This technology thing just doesn't seem to fucking work right. And that's another shitty thing about doing this shit, which is why we need to figure it out and get on something else like iTunes or some shit like that, because,
there was a lot of shit in that like 2 sentences right there. So.
Well, I'm not going to lie, this shit really irritates me. And I'm surprised it's been working as well as it has tonight, because usually I hit buttons and they tell me to go fuck myself a lot of the times. So, hold on, I'll be right there. I'm just going to keep rambling.
Ramble on.
If I do desire to speak to the host, I did fucking press 1. All right, I'm in the host queue.
I'm not going to put you on because he'll leave you on hold for 10 minutes.
Whoa. Listen, I'm in stereo now, boys. All
right, let me fucking cut that other one off. I'm just going to hang this other fucking phone up because it's just going to hang up on it anyway. There we go. Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you.
Beautiful. So, here we go. Let me continue the show. All right. Dunsky. Got that all taken care of. So where was I?
Oh, you were talking about Invicta.
Right, Invicta fighting. It's going to be Saturday night. Marlus Kunin is fighting Romy Royson. I don't really know how to say her name because she's French. She's a pretty talented fighter. I'm going to name a lot of names that nobody knows, like Jessica Penne. She's going to be the co-main event against Lisa Ellis. I watched the video on Jessica Penne. She looks like she's very motivated, okay? So I've learned a lot.
I've actually heard of her.
Yeah. She's a decent fighter, but I'd never seen her fight before, so I'm excited about that. And you got Liz Illa, get it? Fighting Ashley Curry. Carmouche most recently was in Strikeforce, competing for the bantamweight title. She was in the title eliminator to try to get the title shot. She's a pretty dominant wrestler. She's definitely fighting. Sorry.
Whoa.
Wow. Oof. Sorry about that. It's my allergies. But no, basically, there's a lot of good fights. I think what I'm trying to say is, as I'm stumbling over myself and choking to death, is people should give it a shot, check it out. because what we always complain about is that there doesn't seem to be a lot of high-level fighting going on in the women's division when we see these fights, like in Strikeforce or even some in Bellator. But it's because these women are the really cream of the crop. Women are strewn about the world trying to get the best paycheck available because it's not really exactly easy for them to book fights. Well, this promotion is pitting the best of the best against each other. So you're actually going to see some high-level competition similar to what we saw when Ronda Rousey and Miesha Tate fought. But in a promotion like Strikeforce that doesn't have a lot of high-level talent, you're not going to get that a lot of the time. So, it's a chance for the women to do something. That way, Zuffa can cut loose the women and have them actually go someplace where they can compete on a level where they can get better and actually put on exciting fights. So that's basically all I'm trying to say about it.
I have a question about that.
Sure, yeah, go ahead.
Is Zuffa thinking about doing that soon, cutting them? Because I know I've been reading on Twitter, Miesha Tate's been advertising for the Invicta fights a lot lately. So, she's still under contract with Strikeforce, right?
She's still under contract with Strikeforce, but I'm sure Miesha Tate, even though she's under contract with them, she's a girl who's been in it for almost, I think, like 10 years, so she wants to see this take off and probably potentially get signed over there because she sees the writing on the wall. Whether, her promoting it is going to get Zuffa to come down on her hard and say, what are you doing? It's a opposing promotion or not. I don't think she really cares. I think she would rather have it promoted and have it, put her name behind it as well, just to point it out to people to give it a chance, because without it, where do they really go to fight? You know what I'm saying? It's so few and far between for them, and they need something like this where it's just a promotion dedicated to them and where they don't have to inundate the card with, male fighters. And a lot of times they get pushed out of the way for even shitty male fighters. So it's kind of that's what it really comes down to, Steve. I don't think she's really too worried whether or not she gets reprimanded or not, because they'll sign her in an instant. Hello?
I agree that maybe Steve is that maybe Steve is right, that really seeing as UFC doesn't have a complete vested interest in the female fighting product as of right now, that they don't mind that she's putting herself behind Invicta, because again, they realize that she's gonna all of these female fighters are gonna need somewhere to go when the UFC finally decides to fold up Strikeforce's tents, and that they don't have that option anymore. I think Steve has said a couple times in the past that the UFC is looking at Invicta as a good thing, sort of as a way to, with a clear conscience, just kill Strikeforce and thereby kill their what little bit of a women's division that they have, knowing that they have another option, that they have another avenue to get paid to do this, while at the same time allowing somebody else that, this is something that we've all said, allowing somebody else to do the heavy lifting as far as building and creating a viable product for women's MMA, and then at some point maybe, either just completely headhunting all of their best fighters or buying the promotion outright, if it actually gathers steam and takes off. So they probably have no problem with her promoting it, because they don't actually see it as a competitor at the moment, because they don't offer the same product.
Well, no, that's true though. But you know what? I mean, to be fair and honest, I don't think UFC really has many competitors, even in male-driven MMA. I mean, what's the closest thing they got to competition now? Bellator. Not many people are really, tuning in there, and they already just poached, a top superstar out of Bellator. They just recently signed Hector Lombard.
Yeah,
right.
So I mean, it's not like the UFC, if they see that money can be made off something, that they ain't going to put their muscle behind it. So, I agree with you in some respects that, they gives them a clean conscience. These women can go somewhere. I think there's two women who are running Invicta who are really behind the product, so I think they're really going to put all their efforts into it. I don't necessarily know if Zuffa would ever end up purchasing them, because like I said, they really don't even have any direct competitors with male MMA. let alone a female promotion, they know it is never going to cut into their pay-per-view dollars, you know, even if he gets big and starts putting on pay-per-view events. If they were dumb and put him against a UFC pay-per-view, they're going to get crushed, you know. So, you know, I don't know. I do believe that you're right bringing that up about the clear conscious thing, but as for sitting there saying, we're going to scope it out and see if it could be a moneymaker, even if it is a moneymaker, I'm not so sure that they would want to scoop it back up again.
Well, this is, you know, that's true too. I mean, you know, they've never really. I mean, they've sort of reversed their stance on it a little bit. At least the Fertittas have. You know, Dana has always said that he's really not that interested in it because the same point that we bring up that, you know, there's too few interesting fights there.
Right.
You know, I think it was Lorenzo Fertitta after the Rousey fight, you know, said that, you know, yeah, he's a fan, and, you know, he definitely would promote the product. He would definitely book the product. But, again, it comes down to having enough fighters to do so. So, you know, at least they've sort of softened they've kind of softened their stance on it. But, again, they don't really seem dedicated to it, so I don't really think, you know, they're ever really going to put their full weight behind any sort of women's division. So, you know, I guess we'll just have to see what happens with Invicta.
Right. No, I'm definitely I'm going to check it out. I'm you know, interested to a certain degree with women's MMA, and I think it's a good thing. I think it's going to be very interesting. I think they got a lot of great women fighters on this card, and you know, it's going to be interesting. But like I said, I mean, as for direct competitors, you know, the signing of Hector Lombard is huge. I mean, it's a big problem for Bellator. I mean, that was one of their top stars. They're one of their, you know, big time top draws. The guy's on a ridiculous winning streak. You know, he's a face of their company. He's their middleweight champion, and now, you know, they supposedly were going to look at it and possibly counter the offer, but of course, you know, how could, you know, and they're doing well. They're turning a profit, but they're not turning a big enough profit to be able to compete with the numbers that Zuffa can offer somebody. Plus, apparently, Zuffa is really looking for Hector Lombard to make a huge impact in the middleweight division because they're giving him pay-per-view money. You know, when he's on a pay-per-view card, depending on the buys, he's getting money from that. And that was the real issue why Bjorn Rebbe, the owner of Bellator, said, you know, there's no way we could even, you know, counter-offer something like that. It was just impossible. So he said he predicts that Hector Lombard is going to be the UFC middleweight champion by the end of the year. He sort of went out on a limb like Franco did with Rumble Johnson. I think, as crazy as Franco's prediction was, I think Bjorn Rebney's is even crazier because even though Hector Lombard is a pretty dominant dude, he's looked great, he's kind of small for a middleweight, and I know I've had in-length conversations with Franco about this. He definitely thinks he'll be competing. I'm not so sure. I think he's going to have a tough time in the UFC. You know, I think he's going to be a pretty good fighter, but at the upper echelon, I'm not so sure he can do it. But I would love to be proven wrong. It would be a very interesting thing if Hector Lombard does have a shot to beat Anderson Silva.
Again, Silva is just one of those fighters that, you know, up until Chael made him look bad for 4.5 rounds. He's one of those unsolvable riddles, it seems like. And yeah, you know, he's getting up there. You know, I love how we talk about him like he's an old man, but you know, he's getting up there in age. So, you know, he's probably, you know, on the tail end of his career, you know. There's really been no one other than Sonnen that's had him in danger, ever. Okay? So,
right.
I just don't know. I don't think that this guy is going to, especially as an undersized middleweight, you know, how he's going to solve that riddle at all. You know, he might. There might be some interesting fights for him at middleweight in the UFC. I'm not saying that he's not going to be competitive, but I mean, if the goal is to be the middleweight champ, I just don't. I honestly don't really see it happening. You know, it's like the message board poster that you liked to quote last week. You know, he probably should have just stayed the face of Bellator and crushed cans for the rest of his life.
That's the greatest thing I ever seen written. I mean, I know I use that a lot. I'm sure it's not the greatest thing I've ever seen written, but I know when I read it, I was just like, that's fucking hysterical, because it's semi-true.
Yeah. Because he's been the middleweight champ over there for how long? I think
a couple of years now. And he's also gone and fought in other promotions and just beasted everybody because, what do you call it, Bellator lets the guys fight in other promotions too, and everybody he steps in with, he beats up. But, I mean, we've seen that kind of dominance before with guys, and then they step into the UFC, and a lot of the times they have a rude awakening,
Like your boy Pillow Hands.
Oh, come on, dude. He just had, listen, okay? Jake Shields had a little bit of bad luck, because he had to cut all that weight to get back to 170. He originally was a natural 170-pounder. He fucked his body chemistry up fighting at 185, and that's why he's considering a return to the middleweight division, I think, because, it just screwed everything up. If Jake Shields would have just stayed at 170, he would have been the UFC welterweight champion, no problem. But when he moves up to 185, Anderson Silva's fucked. and so is Hector Lombard, for that matter.
Oh, God.
By the way, I just want to let you guys know I posted that video of Bob Sapp's last fight in the chat room like I promised earlier. I just remembered I promised that. Please feel free to check it out because he looked semi-competitive. But as I was looking it up...
it's a minute and 53. Oh, awesome.
Yeah, definitely check that out. But as I was looking for it, I was looking through articles, and the best part is... they give you a list of articles, and the most recent articles written about Bob Sapp is how will Bob Sapp lose his next fight is the most recent article written. I love it.
Can you bet that in Vegas? Are they taking bets on that in Vegas, how he loses
I don't know.
fight?
Because, what, I'm going to look it up.
It's got to be parlayable.
It has to be, dude, because... I don't even know where to begin with Bob Sapp anymore. It's just ridiculous. And then I love also, I only posted the video in there. But in one of the articles it shows a picture of one of his old fights. I think he might be probably in Sengoku because I think he fought in that a long time ago too. But it's photographic evidence that Sapp used to at least take a punch before calling it quits. Ah, the good old days.
Nice. Jesus, this guy's a sloppy mofo.
Yeah, he doesn't even work out anymore. At least back in the day, he used to be shredded and weighing in at a hefty 305, but shredded with a fucking six-pack. Well, probably an eight-pack because he's so humongous. Huge, chiseled, delicious chest.
I think I'm seeing the... goodbye.
The tide is turning. Yes.
That's it. He's done.
Yeah, he just can't do it.
What the hell put him down? Hold on a second here. Wait a minute. I'm confused.
He just falls, dude.
He just falls. There's not even a shot. Hold on a second. Let me look.
The guy throws a flurry that really doesn't connect. Watch. Then he just decides to go down.
All right. Hold on.
But he's not even trying to hide it anymore.
No. Absolutely
not. He was doing a great job. He wasn't doing a great job before. Everybody knew.
He's fighting windmill retard style, first of all.
Yes, that's what he usually always did. But the best part is when he does fall, the guy walks away like, this is bullshit, and then he just raises his hand.
He actually looks up and goes,
Oh, Bob Sapp. I believe next on the docket for him is Mariusz Pudzianowski in Poland, so that should be good.
Are you fucking for real?
Yeah, it's awesome. Bob Sapp's the man. This dude, he loves it. Oh, look at this. Oh, I'm on YouTube now. Somebody wrote a poem dedicated to Bob Sapp. Let me read it. I hope it's good. I didn't read this in advance, so it might suck. A poem dedicated to Bob, and then in quotes he has Blob Sapp. Bob Sapp, you're a piece of poo. Everybody could kick the shit out of you. You ain't got no talent or skill. You're just boxing to pay your hooker's bill. Oh, this guy's close, so get a fucking job. You won't be such a piece of blob. Yeah. Oh, man, that was a waste of time. Thumbs down on him. I thumbs downed him. Thumbs down him again. Thumbs down. Oh, I'm not signed in. Damn it. I'm not going to waste my time trying to slide in. I'm just trying to thumbs down reply. I'm just going to, oh, no, I am. Okay, let's see. Reply, fuck you. I'm just going through a fuck you. Bob Sapp.
Shakespeare over there, huh?
What's that?
I said Shakespeare over here.
Yes, I am Shakespeare. Fuck you.
Making fun of his prose, and your response is, fuck you.
Let's see if he gets back to me. Yep, I just put fuck you. That was childish. That wasn't childish at all.
Yeah, it was.
I'm proud of myself.
Unbelievable.
That
somehow
kind of
fitting, though. What's that?
It's somehow fitting, though.
It is. But you know, I mean, that guy doesn't understand. That guy obviously doesn't understand what's really going on with Bob Sapp. He really thinks Bob Sapp's trying to compete, and he's like trying to mock the guy out. That's not what's going on here. The guy decided to become a professional loser and live off of a fucking name that he built in Japan. For some reason, they love him, and the dude gets paid a lot of money to go in there and look like an idiot. You know what? God bless him. God bless him. He's looking at those paychecks. It's amazing.
Yeah. So, I mean, like you said, he's got 2 fights next month. So, you know, he's got to make sure he's healthy for those.
Well, don't worry. He will be, and he will be losing those as usual. It's not a problem. He will be fucking 11 and 13 by the end of the month in mixed martial arts. But anyway, we'll stop talking about Sapp. I don't think we talked about the Overeem situation tonight because, of course, that's an ongoing saga. He's somebody else who I believe knocked out Bob Sapp was Overeem earlier in Bob Sapp's career. And that was before Overeem was fucking gigantor and eating the horse meat and everything. So, you know, he was just starting to change his metamorphosis all naturally, of course. But as we all know, the shake-up with the UFC 146 card, it's all reset. Everybody's been shuffled around. We know Overeem went for his hearing yesterday. He got a 9-month suspension. He will be eligible to fight December 27th is when the suspension will be up. The commission went kind of light on him, considering the fact that, you know, they seemed like they were in the know just like the rest of us are, that it's not horse meat that Alistair's been eating. And they sort of had a vendetta, especially when he skipped the country, when he tried to avoid another drug test when he was fighting Brock Lesnar. But, you know, as I brought up last week, I said, you know, he could very well be cut from the UFC for this. And I don't think I was too far out of the realm. I'm sure you've probably seen this if you were looking on any of the sites today, Billy. Dana White did comment on it, and he said he's never been an Overeem fan. He's definitely still not an Overeem fan. And you know what? He's really going to have to think long and hard about this and also talk to the Fertittas because, you know what? He's really considering cutting Overeem over this whole thing. So do you think he's just talking with emotion? Do you think it's a little bit hasty on his part? Or do you think he just wants to cut bait with him because, as he's put it, he fucking lied to my face, and I don't like fucking doing business with liars. And obviously, especially you don't fuck with Zuffa's money, or Dana White's money for that matter. I mean, the whole card was shaken up. It's such last-minute notice. Lucky for him, he has Frankie Mir healthy and ready to go because Frankie Mir can definitely sell that fight by letting everybody know that he thinks Dos Santos is a fucking idiot. So, you know, he's definitely got a guy who can sell a fight. But do you think that he's going to get cut before his suspension's up? Or do you think Dana's going to fucking sit there and let him have one more shot? But you know he's going to put him up against somebody like, say, Cain Velasquez when he's ready to go. And then if he loses, he's out.
I think that because Dana is usually, you know, uncensored and raw emotion. I think that if it was completely just up to him, Overeem would be cut already, to be perfectly honest, for all the reasons that you just said. That he doesn't like being lied to, and, you know, he's fucking with the bottom line by you know, testing positive and fucking up that whole card. The fact that, you know, the money guys, the Fertittas, realize that somewhere down the line, Overeem is still going to pop pay-per-view sales and pay-per-view buys. And so they're going to be willing to wait it out for him. But Dana has also said that based on this, that if he thought, it was bad, him getting tested all the time prior to this, wait until this fucker, gets off his suspension, because he thought he was tested all the time before this. He is literally going to be tested all the time, so, he better be clean from here on out, because we will just be testing him constantly. So I think Dana, is very angry, very pissed, thinks the guy's a shady bastard, and is mad because he just feels like he, sat down and blatantly lied to his face. And if it was just up to him, he'd be gone. He'd cut him in a heartbeat without even thinking about it. But the Fertittas see dollar signs in the future. Overeem will sell tickets and sell pay-per-view buys, and they're not going to pass that up. Even if it's a one-fight thing, because, let's say he comes in, and because he doesn't have his magical horse meat anymore, the guy gets knocked the fuck out by the first person he fights on a UFC card. Well, it'll probably be the only time they use the guy, but they're going to get money out of this guy one way or another.
Right. One of their faces is going to either go in there, and like you said, they're going to sell the paper. I agree with you 100% there. I think like to say that. And I do also agree that he's going to be tested like crazy. Keith Kaiser, the head of the Modesto Athletic Commission, is going to be waiting and hanging off of Overeem's enormous cock when he gets out of bed in the morning and takes his first piss of the day, because he's just going to have to fucking test him constantly. But, yeah, no, I agree with you. If it was just up to Dana, he's gone. The Fertittas want the money. And it makes sense. He's a name worldwide, maybe not so huge in the USA, but worldwide people will fucking tune into that to see Alistair Overeem get in the Cajun fight. Yes, it's going to be against one of their primary dudes when he comes back. And if he wins, great. Cash in again next time. But if he loses, he's fucking gone. If they put Kane or somebody like that and Kane runs through him, he's out of here, because he was going to be out of here and fired if Brock would have ran through him. Dana was fully expecting Brock to run through him, because he really didn't think that highly of Overeem. And I still think Brock could have beat him, but Brock, of course, he stood up too long with him. He didn't try to get in there for the takedown. And when he was touched and he went for it after he was hit, Overeem shrugged it off and then beat the balls off of him. Let's be honest, he really did beat him up. But Steve, what do you think? Do you think he's going to fucking survive? And do you see a similar situation that we do, or do you think Dana's going to get his way and cut his ass?
No, I agree with you guys. I think he survives. But, the thing with Dana is he's holds a grudge a little bit. So I think he'd put him up. Yeah, I think, like you said, I think
Tito knows that.
I think he'd put him up against somebody like Kane. And then if, he happened to get through Kane, I think he'd throw him up against somebody else, another big name, and just try to, get him out. Try to get him to finally lose so he has an excuse to get rid of him. Where in the meantime it still sells, so it'll be Overeem and Kane, or Overeem and somebody else, so it'll still be a big name. So he still gets his money, and he still hopes that somebody knocks Overeem the fuck out too at the same time.
Well, how about this? Maybe even his first fight back, if I know Carwin's coming back from his back surgery and shit like that. If Carwin gets a tune-up fight, and then Carwin's waiting in the wings, because that's Brock Lesnar with actual striking. It's a little bit more dangerous. So, now I will say Overeem still got better striking than Carwin. But Carwin fucking, if he touches that glass chin of Overeem's, he is fucked. Okay? And, since he could actually throw properly, unlike Brock didn't really know how to throw a punch properly, it will put Overeem on the defensive and will also enable Carwin to possibly get that takedown as well. So, I think Carwin might actually be a pretty good matchup as well. And, either Carwin or Kane, I say because you can't get a title shot.
Yeah, I was saying if Carwin, Carwin could do that and knock his head off, I think Dana would be the first one to catch that in the stands like it was a fucking bouquet at a wedding, and he would just be so excited over it.
Yeah, and he just hold up and go, "Oh, you not entertain," or some shit like that. Some shit.
I could actually see him doing that too.
Yeah. I definitely could too. Yeah, I think we're all in agreement. I think most people probably feel this way, because the smart money is Overeem's a draw. He's a draw. There's a lot. I might be an Overeem hater, but I have to admit, the guy is pretty talented. He has made his bones across the world and has put himself in a spot where he is a name and somebody who people are interested in watching fight. But what I don't like is that people forget that the guy has a glass chin, okay? All it's going to take is for a dude who can actually touch that chin again to put him out, okay? All you got to do is look up his highlights. As a matter of fact, maybe I'll throw up his greatest highlight reel in the chat room. Everybody can check it out, and decide for themselves if Overeem, can really stand up to a punishment from a dude who can actually throw. But, I think there's money to be made off him, and they're going to. They fixed this card. I think this card is still a solid card. So, as angry as Dana is, I still think they're going to pull because Frank Mir is going to get on TV. He's going to badmouth. As nice of a guy as Dos Santos is, because we know how nice he is. Billy, if you've got a picture of Dos Santos' wife, please put it in the chat room so everybody can see, just like we know, that Junior Dos Santos is the nicest man on earth. He definitely doesn't have a malicious bone in his body, but yet Frank Mir is going to tell you he's a fucking jerk-off. His fighting style stinks, and one of the guys who trained him, Big Nogueira, I ripped Big Nogueira's arm off. What do you think I'm going to do to him? Frank Mir's going to say this shit.
I think that's amazing. Again, and hold on, as requested. There it is.
Oh, what a nice man. What a nice man Junior Dos Santos is.
Yep. He's got to hug up on that.
Clicked on it. Holy shit. Oh, my God. Oh, wow, that's rough. Damn, dude. Wow. I don't know how he does it. He's a better man than me.
But, no, this honestly couldn't be better, to be perfectly honest. Because to have Frankie Mir come in, a guy who, again, just loves himself so much and is so confident, and just knows how to talk shit, he's going to be able to sell that fight really, really well. And he's got the story. Yeah, he's look, I took home his trainer's arm with me, and he'll probably take shots at Dos Santos's skill set because we've only ever seen Dos Santos really dismantle people on his feet, so. And Dos Santos, is not going to toss any barbs back. He's just going to sit there and pretty much, take it and maybe have like a semi frowny face once in a while, when he talks about being disrespected or something, but. Frankie, he better be smart enough to not stay on his feet and trade with him, because we all know that Dos Santos has dynamite in his hands because he's only nice outside the ring, and on his wedding day, apparently. So.
Yeah, well, look what he's got to throw around in the bedroom at night. He's the strongest man in the world, obviously.
Yeah, he never stops training. He's always working out.
Poor fuck. Jesus Christ. Oh, my God. Who do you think wins this fight? Do you think Mir's going to take it, or do you think Dos Santos is going to hold on to that title?
If Frank, sometimes Frank has an issue with people with good striking. And I think it's because Frank has a little too much confidence in his own striking. Guys with power and guys with good hands seem to give him a little bit of a problem. I think obviously if he gets to the ground, I know Dos Santos trains with the Nogueiras and whatnot, and supposedly has some semblance of a jiu-jitsu game. But I think if Frank gets it to the ground, he goes home with another trophy. I think if he decides to stand there and trade, I think he's probably going to get the worst end of that. I might end up going to sleep. So I want to say Frankie, because again, even though I started out, with the haterade for him because of his ego is really starting to win me over, as I said earlier. So I want to say that Frankie wins, but I have a feeling that he's going to stand and trade with Dos Santos and end up getting, knocked the fuck out for his troubles.
Hey, it worked when he fought Big Nog the second time. What do you feel, Steve? You think Mir's got a chance here?
I definitely think so. I'm rooting for Mir. I mean, and also, again, I think he wants the belt, so I don't think he'll fight a stupid fight. He knows that, if he stands there and trade, he's not as good. He's good with his hands, but he's not as good as Dos Santos, and he should outclass him pretty handily on the ground. Because even if Dos Santos does train with Nogueira, obviously we've seen he's not as good as Nogueira, and we've seen Frankie is better on the ground than Nogueira. So he should have the
certainly is.
He should have the advantage there. So I think he wants that belt back. I think he'll fight a smart fight. And worst case scenario, it is a handicap match because if Frankie does get in trouble, he can always tag his ego to come in, and his ego can finish off Dos Santos. So I mean, if he gets in trouble, he can do that. Whereas Dos Santos obviously is a very nice guy, like you said, so he doesn't have an ego to tag in. So it's a handicap match. So I'd definitely go with Frankie on this one.
I agree with you. I think Frankie Mir is gonna put on a shocker because everybody, of course, always loves to fucking sit there and pretend like Frank Mir is not a legit heavyweight out there. I don't know why. He's done nothing but prove it over and over again. He ripped off Nogueira's arm, which, by the way, Nogueira is he did sign to fight later in the year, so he's back, people. So don't worry, Frank didn't fuck him up too much. The guy is gonna be back. But, I think Mir has a better shot in this fight than most people give him a chance for. Obviously, on the feet, Dos Santos might, obviously tag him, knock him out. But if you remember, that worked against Big Nog. Nog tagged him, almost put him out, and then he went down there and tried to finish him off. And Frankie obviously was playing possum and just fucking ripped apart Nogueira's arm and put him on the shelf for a while. So, even if Dos Santos hits that big blow, if he follows him down, as long as he's got a little bit of consciousness in his head, he's going to latch on and try to tie up Dos Santos and start working in the subs. So, obviously Mir wants it on the ground. It's the best thing for him, but, his striking is better. Now, is it on the level of Dos Santos? No, I agree with you, Billy. But he could catch Dos Santos because Dos Santos is aggressive. I mean, we see him when he caught Czech Congo, and Czech Congo went down and then he choked him out. So, I mean, he does have power. So, he definitely could win it on his feet. But we're running low on time. Before we finish it up, before I hit the finish up button, I just want to let you know that as much as Tim Sylvia cried about getting in the UFC and everything and he never got his chance, I just want to let everybody know Tim Sylvia is okay. All right? He's going to be headlining the NEF2 event. I forget the date because I forgot to write it down. And I forget his opponent. It's some tomato can. But he's going to be all right. Okay, he's going to be headlining the event. He's still a superstar. The guy is, regardless of how much we want to tool on him, I believe he's 30 or 33-7, perhaps his record is now. He was the UFC heavyweight champ at one point. So, we can tool on him all we want. He is probably still a fairly legit fighter out there. So, I say kudos to Big Tim Sylvia. You guys happy about this news?
I'm happy that he's getting another payday so he can stop crying about getting into the UFC. Actually, no, I'm not happy about that because that's provided us with hours of entertainment, was kicking Timmy while he was down. So now I've changed my mind in less than 30 seconds.
Well,
I'm not happy.
Let's be honest. He was headlining Pro Elite events, so I think there's a little bit of a step down. You happy for the big man, Steve?
I honestly don't care. Maybe with his payday, he can get probably a proper haircut and maybe cut those chops. But
I like the chops.
Other than that, I mean, other than providing, like Billy said, providing us with fodder to make fun of him, he's not really relevant anymore. So
that's true.
June 16th.
He is
June 16th.
June 16th.
He's fighting Randy Smith. So according to this article, he is one of the top 5 heavyweights in Maine.
He's not.
So,
well, in Maine, sure. In Maine, sure. Okay? Tim Sylvia was a fucking top 10 dude in the world. This guy's fucked. His record's like 14-10. Give me a break. I don't know, but I got to wrap it up. But, you know, at least Timmy's going to get another win. Definitely it'll keep him on track to headline the next Pro Elite card. And he did say he was open to competing on the Ultimate Fighter, so maybe Dana will throw him a bone. Who the fuck knows? But anything left, boys? Because I got to fucking hit this outro.
I got nothing as usual.
Stay-Bo?
I think I've said everything I need to say.
All right, then, everybody, you can check me back out on Monday, Cauliflower for the Years. It could be an hour, might be 2 hours, probably just an hour because we'll jip you out of the 2 hours we owe you. Check me out on my Twitter at Cauliflower4Ears, or ear, I don't know if it's pluralized, I forget, so just look for it. Check out BillBrown1 at BillBrown1777 at Twitter.
BBrown. Yep.
All right. Check out Scott from Modesto at CaptainSolo07 at Twitter. And if you want, you can check out Roto Experts, but who gives a shit, really, you know? And thexlog.com as well. You know, that's entirely up to you guys. I don't want to sound like I'm trying to force you or anything because I feel bad. But and that's really it.